Switching gears a bit, we moved over to the world of art and creative and connected with Vera, a graphic designer that designs the TIFOs that have been making waves at Atlanta United home games. We wanted to find out how she got connected with the game and what it's like expressing her creativity and love for the city through the TIFOs she creates.
Grew up from Atlanta. I'm an Atlanta product. I grew up on the east side of Atlanta, in Lithonia, Georgia. I just love my city. So I've always been a supporter of Atlanta in all aspects, especially for sports. So I went to Art Institute of Atlanta. We didn't have a sports team. So I adopted Atlanta's teams, Falcons, Hawks, Braves, Dream, all as as a college person would, as those are my teams. So when Atlanta United came along, it was just natural. It's like, all right, add one to the books. So from there, once the team was launched and just named, Resurgence supporter group, they were working on the first TIFO. And I just happened to be scrolling through and they asked for who wants to come paint. So naturally as an artist, that was like, okay, that's where I need to be. And I showed up, it was open arms, nothing but love. It was other supporters there and was hooked ever since.
The fact that, you're here, you grew up in the city, and then something new comes in, right? Would you say soccer is fairly, on like a mass scale, fairly a new idea here in the city?
Yeah, and it's still growing. It was new to certain parts, but Atlanta was always hungry for soccer. There are a lot of soccer, groups and clubs, especially for the youth here in the city, all throughout Metro Atlanta, which is massive. So there was always this murmur of, soccer wanting and needing and existence here. We just needed a platform large enough to show you that we were aware and, woke in a sense about what soccer culture was.
What was your first revelation of this idea of a TIFO and supporter section and things like that?
Well, from watching soccer, I knew of the gesture of a TIFO. I knew the displays, but I didn't fully know that they were called TIFOs and, the full understanding until I got into the supporter groups. And of course, like I said, did my research, understood, okay, what's the purpose of them? It's not just, something cute. There's meaning behind it. And specific to soccer culture, the fans, our voice is important to a match.
Take us through your creative process a little bit. When you get a TIFO or you get a concept or an idea that people want to be displayed. Take us through that creative process a bit.
Well, it is definitely a team process. We'll work with my particular supporter group, Resurgence. We talk through things and we'll throw ideas out there. A lot of the ideas depend on the message we want to send that particular match versus be it that opponent. Or be at a time in the city is, if there's something going on, we think we need to do a bit bigger. What stage is set, we set records here in Atlanta as far as attendance. So if we have 72 people coming, 72K people coming, we want to make sure that message is big. So it's usually maybe 2 weeks out before we narrow something down before a match that we're going to do a TIFO with. We'll be all hands on deck. I'll come up with the design. We'll go a couple iterations. I'll look at it, make sure it's legible from distance, make sure if we're doing, any flags or anything of that nature, we've got the supplies and that schematics out. And like I said, something that massive, especially doing TIFOs in the Mercedes-Benz, it kind of doesn't do us justice because the space is so big. Our TIFOs span bigger than most other MLS stadiums just for the space we, display at. So average TIFO size is about 100 feet by 60 feet for just one. And we're beyond doing just one piece at this point. We like to do multiple things and challenge ourselves each time. So, but it's always a challenge to create and make sure our message is clear, make sure it's felt, it inspires the team, inspires the city, that they can, lift their heads up a bit higher. I think that was the big thing why the King Peach took off so well, because we were playing New York City. And, everyone knows New York story. And everyone's got much respect and love. Half my family's from New York, so there's no love lost there. But I think in that first season, at that time, we really wanted to say what Georgia and Atlanta was talking about with Peach State. Let's go for it. But not only that, with the Kings of the South, so put the crown on it, put that lean on it. So let them know we're here.
So you guys share the stadium with another big team in Atlanta, the Falcons, right? What separates, though, the fandom that happens at a Falcons game and the fandom that happens at Atlanta United game?
I think it's the pacing. If you look at American football, there's timeouts, the commercial breaks, there's plays. It's just a different pacing to a Falcon game than is a United match. When you get a United match, it's 90 minutes. It's go time. You're chanting, going. You get that little halftime break, and you're there. Part of it too is culturally. We have a large, diverse community here in Atlanta. We have a large Latino population here, as well as international. Atlanta is a big refugee city, so we have people from all over the world who've started to call Atlanta home. So you get these people who have amazing fandoms from other parts of sport and bring that to soccer, Atlanta United.
Cool. I like what you said about the pacing, because we were actually talking to an Uber driver yesterday, and he said, "Oh man, soccer's boring." But I think the biggest thing is people have to experience. Would you say the same thing to me?
I'd say just come. I've put a lot of people on in the city who've never been to a soccer match. They're Falcon fans, they're Hawks fans, Braves fans. It's like, no, the same sort of story you say. It's like, oh, it's boring. You end the match in a draw, no one scores. It's like, it's more than that. It's about the passion. There's passion. It means when you're seeing your team run up and down that field, that's no walk in the park there. They're running for 45 minutes, then they break. There's a nonstop. There's footwork. There's action. There's creativity. There's energy in that. And like I said, being a fan too, even if you don't know, you get that vibe. You hear chants. You're a part of the match, and you realize that you're bouncing, jumping, and standing, and you're participating in this match. It's more than you just being a spectator. You're a part of it.